Hello everyone, Grandmaster Var Akobian here. I'm very excited to be the Grandmaster in residence for the St. Louis Chess Club for the next 3 weeks. And I will be spending time with you, showing you some very interesting games, some of my games and some other top games. And also we'll be doing a lot of puzzles. As you remember in a lot of my lectures, we do a lot of cool puzzles, some studies, which we will do today as well, okay? But first we have a very exciting game to go over. This is a game between Nijat Abasov, who qualified for the Canada tournament, and Gukesh. A very funny thing I want to mention before we start the game. I actually played both of these gentlemen in Isle of Man tournament in 2013 when I was also trying to qualify to the candidate tournament. It was a very, very strong tournament. I played first Nijat Abasov with the white pieces. It was a very tough game. It ended in a draw. And in the last round, even though I wasn't having a very good tournament, so as Mr. Gukesh, he was not having a great time. We end up being paired against each other in a very final round in Isle of Man, which will be a separate video on that topic. I will show you that exciting game, back and forth struggle here. At some point I felt like I was close to be winning, but he escaped the mating attack, and then it was just equal for a long time, and I made one mistake at the very long, a 6-hour game, and then he managed to beat me. That game will alone be a whole hour lecture because there was so much back and forth in that exciting game. You can definitely check it out. That should be coming up sometime this week, okay? So let's look at this game here. This game is extremely important because Abasov, outsider. On the paper you may think, wait a minute, how is Abasov playing in this tournament, right? Let's understand that process. He played in a World Cup tournament in his home country, Azerbaijan, where he had a fantastic performance, and he eliminated some of the top players in the world, including Peter Svidler, and managed to somehow finish in top 4. He would have not played in the candidate tournament if had Magnus Carlsen decided to play in the candidate tournament, but as you know, Magnus gave up on his classic world title. He's not going to go back playing a candidate tournament. So that's how Nijat played in this tournament of a lifetime, you know, because it's not clear, you know, if he's ever going to be able to qualify to this again, because it's such a tough competition. So in this game he's playing Gukesh, and the story about Gukesh, how did Gukesh end up in a candidate tournament, and now he's going to play in a world championship, is also incredible. Gukesh had a very tough tournament in Isle of Man tournament where I was playing. He lost lots of rating there, and the only way he would qualify, he had to win one more tournament, the Grand Circuit tournaments, before the cutoff time. There were no other tournaments. He played the tournament in London, but that didn't go very well for him. And the last ditch efforts, there was a tournament organized in India, very, very strong tournament, a super tournament, where there were a couple of the top Indian players, a couple of invited players, 2,700, including my good friend Levon Aronian went there to play. It was a very strong tournament, and Gukesh came on top in this tournament, winning that tournament and winning this one spot on the points, surpassing Anish Giri, because it looked like Anish was going to be the participant, but Gukesh won this tournament last minute and then managed to qualify for the candidate tournament, and then the rest, you know, is a history. This is how these two gentlemen end up in this tournament. First of all, a little bit of background, okay? So in this game, this is played in round 12 here. Gukesh is trying to win this game to grab a lead in the tournament. Nepo was ahead and was trying to run away with it. Fabiano was at the lead as well here. Also, we had Hikaru Nakamura. But Gukesh showed he had the energy to win this couple of critical games. We will also look at this game against Firouzja. We will be spending some time on Gukesh's games, guys. So you're going to get to know this player really well. Incredible talent, 17-year-old. So d4, knight f6, c4, e6. We have the we have the Nimzo-Indian defense. Knight c3, bishop b4. He's trying to play for a win. Queen c2. But how do you play for a win here? These lines are so worked out. If you castle after e4, best case scenario, you will be able to make a draw here with some forced variations. So it's incredible wheel. That's what I noticed when I played him, because he took incredible risks against me, you know. He is really fearless. And the guy, he plays a move h6. On move 4, immediately trying to surprise his opponent, but trying to get some kind of position where he'll have some chances. So now, knight f3, c5, putting pressure here. At least it's a new territory. D takes c5, knight a6, g3. It's interesting, this same line is actually played with the move being castled here. So he has the same exact position with the pawn on h6 instead of castling. So this is theoretical position here. Once again, I've played a couple of times with the move castled here, okay? So he castles, knight c3, takes, bishop c5. White plays e4. White has a control of the center, a little bit of a lead in development. Now he plays knight h7. I mean, this is incredible. I guarantee you he analyzed this day before with his team here, and I mean, computer is showing some this incredible play here. Very computer-esque play. You know, a lot of people would be scared to play this, thinking they're just going to get crushed, but he analyzed this. He's taking a chance here. He knew he needed to win a couple of games at the end to be able to avoid the tie breaks, and that's what exactly he did. Knight h7. Now he plays here, e5, Abasov, okay? Abasov plays this move, and now he's trying to fix the d6 pawn, and it really looks like things are going bad for black here. Bishop coming to f4, rook d1. You won't be able to play the move d6. But look at this, he plays rook b8 now. And he's been playing pretty confidently, quickly here. The move rook b8 comes in here. The idea is to bring the rook into the game now, okay? And at some point, he will play the move b6. If he is given time, b6, bishop b7. What black has going for him here, guys, a long-term, the pawn structure is weak here, long-term advantage. If we get to an endgame, then he can try to nurse this position, okay, in a long term. But it's not easy, okay, not easy to do here. So knight d2 now played by Abasov, trying to bring the knight here. Very logical move. I really like this idea. And now b6 by Gukesh. Knight e4, bishop b7. Again, of course, white is doing absolutely fine here, but h4. Now, strong move here, covering the g5 square, so there are no knight g5 ideas. And now he plays queen c7, putting pressure on e5. Rook d1, developing the rook. And now if you're wondering, why can't you take the pawn, right? It looks like a free pawn here, hanging here. But that's going to be a problem, okay? If he does that, then you're going to run into the move bishop f4, which is simply going to win the game. Bishop f4, attacking the queen and picking up the rook. Okay, pick up this and picking up the rook on b8. Okay, so that's not going to work. So rook d1. He realized that there are lots of problems in the position. Says, you know what, this knight is very dangerous. I need to eliminate this knight, and he takes it. Queen takes e4. Another idea is bishop takes c4, but this needs to be calculated because now the knight is hanging. g6 you probably don't want to play. You still cannot take this because of bishop f4. Knight to d7. Knight to d7 again. Yeah, I would think that this is a nice advantage. h5, and bishop comes in to f4. Okay. Try to protect this. So advantage for white, I would say, slightly better position. But there might be another idea he's trying to do, a move like f5, attacking the bishop. And if you take en passant, then you're going to run into this incredible idea, queen takes g3. Look at this calculation here by young Gukesh. Fantastic. So because of that, his opponent played queen takes c4. Now castle. Finally, black castled here, but we need to pause here, guys. We need to pause here to think, to understand what is really going on here, because it's not an easy position to navigate, okay? We really need to understand kind of what's happening here, okay, in this position. So after castle in this position, white has two bishops, has a pressure on d7 still, but now without a knight it's going to be much harder to attack. So in a long run, black has chances to improve his position. So bishop f4 comes in, which is very useful. Rook d8, first defending. Now getting ready to put a knight on f8. Rook d2. Knight f8. Now getting ready to play the move knight to g6. h5. And you're not really going to be able to play the move d6 for a long time. So it's going to be very hard to do anything. You need to figure out how you can get some counterplay here going, okay? d6 you can't, f6 you can't. That doesn't leave you with too many options. You need to open up the position a little bit to have some winning chances. In fact, you know, this position is actually slightly preferable to play with white, actually, because of space advantage. But here Gukesh comes up with a very interesting move, b5. Now I want to go back here and point out the important idea here. In this position, Engine's recommended move was the move bishop f1. And you may ask, wait a minute, what's the point of this, moving the bishop from here? But the point was to simply shut down the counterplay along with the b5 here. Knight f8, you will still play the h5 here, put a clamp on him, and now no b5 coming up. And this would have been incredibly hard to generate any kind of counterplay now to play for a win, okay? This would have been very hard to generate some kind of ideas to actually push for a win, okay? Because your b5 is not coming, so it's going to be very difficult to do anything here. And like, if let's say if you attempt even to play the move d6 after takes, bishop takes, you're only going to find yourself in this very unpleasant pin here on d6, okay? Takes on d6, rook d6, and now queen here, and then you're going to be losing a piece here. So pretty much you can never play the move d6 here. So this is how Abasov could have shut down Gukesh here, and then once you do this, I want to say you're basically playing for two results here. Again, things can change here, but it's going to be very hard for black to generate any kind of counterplay here. But in the game, since he played the move rook d2, knight comes in here, knight g6 is coming, h5, and now b5. An excellent idea. It's not like, you know, white is in trouble here, but at least black is now showing that, you know, I feel safe, I've equalized the game, now I'm attempting to play for a win with this move b5. Of course, you may ask, wait a minute, but this helps white. This undoubles the pawns, right? These are double pawns here, and now he's undoubling the pawns. Yes, but he's getting some activity for the rooks, okay? And there's some weakness on c3, a2, e5. White's position is a little bit stretched here. That's the problem. Bishop f1 is a good move. You know, like this looks nice and it's a long diagonal, but it's really not doing that much. So that's why you need to try to go here. Now he goes here. Doubling up the rooks, putting pressure here. Rook db8, and now there is a nice pressure here on this file. But again, it's going to be very hard to play for a win here. I'm not sure if I like the move a4, because I'm always a little bit skeptical about pushing the pawns, because every pawn push creates weaknesses, and here you will see that the b3 square became weak here. So I would have probably just, if I was playing this game, you would probably see me play the move king g2, prophylaxis. Rook b2 is the only attempt, and now I would just play the move bishop c4. My idea to put the bishop on c3 to simply shut this down, okay? If takes, I just simply take back with the rook. This would have been my idea to try to play, okay? But he played a4, Now immediately rook b3, especially when you make a move and that creates a weakness the opponent can immediately put some pressure on. I don't like it, okay? So I think this is where things started to go wrong for Grandmaster Abasov. And now if you play the move queen c4, let's see here, can you find a nice tactic here? There is a nice tactic here. I'm going to pause this for a second and give you that 30 seconds, okay? That 30 seconds to find a beautiful tactic here. You can put in the chat your answer if you see the tactic here. Well, immediately, the queen is protected right now. You can't do it. Not immediately. Yes, correct, chess lover. Rook takes c3, creating that beautiful tactic. He takes back, and now then, only then now you do this tactic, and then you're going to simply pick up the queen on c3, because you couldn't do it immediately, because it's protected, okay? If you do it immediately at the end of the variation, you lose a piece because you can take back. So that's why you have to do it. So anyway, I think even though it's not like a losing mistake, a4, but I think this is where things started to go really wrong for Abasov. Rook b3. I mean, from here on, I mean, it was a pure master class, okay? This was a Karpovian technique and beyond. I mean, this was every move, he played the best move. Now, you attack, I defend. No, I attack more now. I put pressure here. And this is what I was telling you guys about having the pawns overextended, you know. Yes, you have ability to defend them, but all your pieces are doing right now is just busy defending. Queen is defending this. This is not a good situation to be in, because you're always defending. In the meantime, my knight on f8, the knight on f8 is doing a fantastic job defending d7, so there's this really pointless pressure here because it's not going anywhere. Now he goes rook f3, he's attempting to do something, and the next move was incredible. Another very strong move here, I thought, because if you look at the position, right, if you compare the queens, right, whose queen is more active? And there was some pressure coming on f7. That's another reason why this move is important, because the idea here is you want to win the a4 pawn, but you can't really win it unless the queen is gone, right? So what he tries here, he tries to figure out a way to exchange the queens very patiently, not worrying about going to an endgame where it's going to be hard for him to break through. No, he's just going it very, very patiently. Queen c6, exchanging the queens and also creating a weakness for himself. But he realized after take now, this a4 pawn is going to be incredibly hard to protect because you do not have the move bishop b5 any longer. So how are you going to protect this pawn? The question comes in. I don't see how you're going to do it. So essentially now he is winning a pawn here. Rook d3, rook takes f4. Progress. We're watching how he's slowly, gradually making progress. Now he's up a pawn. It's not just a pawn. It's the fact that now we have an outside pass pawn. And you will see that this is the pawn that is going to decide the outcome of this important game, okay? This extremely important game, okay? So now he goes here. Bishop g2. Abasov correctly decides to get his bishop involved to put some pressure. But rook a2 first, now putting some pressure. Now it's okay to trade some pieces because you're up a pawn. So cannot lose the f2 pawn. So he plays a logical move. Takes, rook takes. Again, with a very correct, very precise play, white should be able to make a draw here. He's got two bishops after all. He's still pretty active. c6 pawn is weak. But again, accuracy. Accuracy is needed. Rook c8 comes in here. Defending, and you know, it's not ideal, I know, but if you play rook b6, that's going to run into the move rook c8. You don't want that because then rook comes underneath. So now he goes bishop e4. Now he plays now he plays the move a5. bishop goes to c2, trying to prevent the a pawn from advancing. g5, now creating counterplay. Important move. Without this move, it's going to be almost impossible to do anything. Bishop comes in on a4, blockading and attacking. It's very hard to remove him from there. You have this problem here. So I would say probably the only chance here to play for a win, this move, g5. Now Abasov took, knight g6, and here where he made a mistake here. What he had to do in this position, actually, he had to eliminate this knight. He had to go for this idea. Bishop takes g6, takes back, and now a move rook a2, putting pressure here. You protect. Bishop takes h6. He was probably worried about this pawn pushing, but the issue here is you have this move bishop to c1. Now you have some bishop a3 ideas, and if you go here, now king walks. And the king is just so far away here on g8, and you don't really have a way to enter here. I mean, you can play the move rook b8, king e2, you know, rook b1 I can take, you go here, then king d3, you go here, even bishop d2 now works. So it's just equal material. Yes, you do have this outside pass pawn, but it's going to be very hard to win. So he actually had to do this. He had to do this calculation and simply go for it. Take on g6, play the move rook a2, and if you're wondering, excuse me, if you're wondering why he doesn't just play the move g5 here, because you just take. Now the bishop is under attack. If you go here, rook a6, okay? And it's just going to be a nice advantage. Apparently, even this line, if you go here, rook takes c6 is good. Take, take. Now you're pinned, and if you go here, this is incredible. King h1, king e7, f5, takes, f4, protects everything. Okay, this is a little bit too complicated, but the point here is you're going to lose all these pawns eventually. So h5, c4, you're pinned again, you can move. King d7, rook f6, yeah, you're going to lose this pawn, and it's just going to be a draw here. Again, it's not necessary to give up the piece, but it does hold. Not an easy decision. I can understand why he didn't go for it. He played king g2 though, but this move I don't like at all. If you don't do this, at least he should take on h6. If he takes here and play this position with, let's say, attempt king f1, you know, to play this. Again, not an easy position to hold, but I think with two bishops he has chances. But what he did, he played king g2, but now after king g7, your bishop is really stuck now. You can't really move. You're going to take, and very hard to do anything. So now he played bishop a4, knight e7, trying to bring the knight to d5, c4, and c4 is actually a serious mistake now because it weakens the dark squares, especially d4 and b4 squares, and that's going to create a lot of opportunities for black. So here instead he should have just tried to move the rook, and logical move is to play rook b2. So if knight d5 comes in, you can play bishop d2, and again you have a lot of ideas here, you know, like you can try to hold this position like this because h6 pawn is really weak now. Okay, so c4, now rook b8. Now see, there is an excellent square now to go to on b4. Rook here, bishop b4, king f3, rook d8, threatening rook d3 check, bishop e3, and the idea is now he's going to activate. At this point, it's already a pretty much winning position here. The rook is coming to d3, then you can go rook c3 as well. Knight f5 is out there, so this is just a matter of technique. I really like how he provoked this c4 idea and everything, and now to get this winning advantage. And here again, he is not going to miss this opportunity. If the king goes only 2, then it's probably still okay, you know. But nope, Gukesh not gonna miss his chance. Opportunity is given to him, and he was just incredibly strong at taking advantage of this opportunity. Rook c3 now, attacking the pawn. c5 comes in. If you try to play the move rook c2, that's going to lead into the move rook a3. So he played here. Knight d5, putting pressure here. Now threatening to take and pick up on c3. Rook c2. And here's another critical moment here where I want to pause. There are many interesting ideas, many different attempts you have, but what is the correct move here? What is the correct idea here to try to play for a win here? Black to play, can you play like Super Grandmaster Gukesh? Well, if you play that chess lover, rook e3 takes, this variation you gotta calculate because you're still in opposite color bishop territory, so you have to be very careful in your ideas because it's still opposite colors. So you only have one pawn here, and see, like for example, this liquidation is probably just going to be a draw, you know. If you go here, I just go here. Yeah, I just go here. Okay. So that's why you don't want to rush rook a3. I know it's a very tempting idea. It's very, very tempting, but you don't want to rush with it, okay? He actually did something really, really strong. I was very impressed. Of course, I was watching this live, and we were doing the broadcast with the St. Louis Chess Club on this tournament, of course. And no, his technique was incredible. That's why I picked this game to show you, because the precision of his play was just unbelievable in this game. He made every right decision. I don't see the answer yet. Maybe give you a little bit more time here to calculate. What did he really play here, huh? What did he do here to break through? No, not 97, Fisher random. We're not going backwards here. The knight is ideally placed there, okay? I know you're trying to save the c pawn, but that would be probably close to a draw now. He will trade and play f4. You know, it's calculate, please calculate. In fact, it's incredible actually. Second best move is the chess lover move. Rook takes c3 is the second best move, but it's actually a draw. So now I'm starting to think it's possible maybe Abasov missed this even, you know, because you know. All right, rook takes c2, rook takes c2, knight e3. This I don't know. I don't know this, okay? So I take, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not positive if this is actually winning, you know, because I'm threatening now bishop here. Let's say you go here, I go f4. I'm not positive if this position is actually winning. It might be, okay? It might be winning, but it needs to be further investigated. It looks like computer thinks probably this is going to be a win, but again, you may end up going into this position, then discover that this is just a draw, you know? White plays king f3, g4, put the king on e4, and you don't have a problem. But it looks like there's some chances here to win here. But what he did is so much easier here. So much simpler. So first he had changed the rooks. And now, what is the rule? In a lot of my videos, I always mention to you guys, when you have a passed pawn, what is this pawn meant to be? What is the goal of the passed pawn? Right? The goal of the passed pawn is to push. And that's a passed pawn. It's a push now because he cannot take this. Look at this tactic now. He's doing a fork here, taking advantage of the opportunities here, okay? And winning the game. So, and now this pawn is just so quick now. Boom, boom. And he's ready to queen right there, okay? So this is exactly, yes, push them, baby. Exactly, you know? And now, that's it. It's over now. King d3, push, forcing you to play this move. And now, I really like what he did here. He actually not even rushing to take on e3 or anything. No, improve the king. Get the king into the game here, guys. Now, king is coming in like. There is no danger of getting mated or anything. Now he goes here. King g5. King c4. Now bishop e1 now. Trying to put pressure here. King d3. King g4. Now he went back, forcing this move. And now king f5. Now again, white is barely hanging on. You know, f2 is hanging, e5 is hanging, everything is hanging. And this is actually an example where white is in actually pretty much a suksavang here, because if you go to a2, you're getting fork with knight b4. So you don't really have too many good moves here anymore. Okay? Where your bishop moves away, you're dropping f2, you go this direction, you're dropping e5. This is suksavang. Yes, it's hard to believe two bishops are strong, but again, the character of the position is closed. That's why, okay? If the character of the position was different, then yeah, it would have been advantage for white if it was open board. That's the difference here, okay? But it's an incredible play by Gukesh. He went here, and now the king enters. I mean, he was not afraid. Like, some people would be really scared to play this move, thinking, oh my god, I might get mated here, you know? But bishop c2, he goes king f3, he calculated it. There were a couple of times in this tournament where he had like simple wins, but he's like, no, I'm not going to take the simple win. I'm just going to calculate the strongest computer perfect play, you know? And he did that. And I think there was a game against Gukesh also. The game against Gukesh was very similar as well, where so Gukesh won against Vidit. You know, that game was incredible. We'll go over that game as well at some point. So bishop d1 comes in, again, barely trying to hang on everything, and now push. Now the point is, now threat is bishop takes f2. The bishop is going to be deflected from here, and promotion is coming. Bishop c2 is met by king to f3, and I played f3, check. He goes back. Again, this is very, like, not very easy to play this king, but he now induced the weaknesses. Check, no problem. He's not afraid of checks. Now check, he's gonna go king to g4, bishop b3. He's like, you can have the pawn, because this is very simple, because now you lose this pawn, but now you got this one, and that's gonna be simply a touchdown here. This pawn is just gonna go all the way through here. And that's the last move of this game. After move h5, he simply resigned, because now h4, h3, h2, and this cannot be played. I mean, this was, in my opinion, one of my favorite games of Gukesh here. He did win a lot of games here, guys. He finished the tournament, I believe, with 5 wins, 1 loss, so +4 was his, you know, we'll look at all his wins, but this one I was the most impressed with, because he was in a situation where he was playing the outsider, but outsider was well prepared. He had Shakhriyar Mamedyarov on his team. He had a lot of support. He wasn't just, you know, any ordinary 26-30 grandmaster. He was very well prepared grandmaster who, you know, had training camps. He had put some efforts into this, so it was, you know, definitely a you know, well prepared opponent. But he just took him out of the theory with this incredible h6 move here. On move number 4, in a super theoretical position here, where everybody play castle, they play d5, they play d6. I mean, he plays the move h6. I mean, look at the book here. I mean, it's just extremely rare. There may be some games played with the h6 here, but it's just very, very, very rare move here. So it was incredible actually to watch this. This set the tone. So what this is, he managed to catch his competitors with this victory, and then in the next round he was already motivated and he made it another beautiful win against Varuzhan. Again, that was also not an easy game, and we will look at that game as well, but he outplayed Varuzhan in a critical game. Now guys, we come to the fun part, okay? We're gonna do some fun in-game studies, okay? So I'm gonna set up some of the studies here if I remember how to do it. So let's see here. Do we do study, right? No. Puzzles, I need to go to analysis.
Or we could just open up a study again and go to board editor.
Oh, study here?
Yeah, let's try. I mean, we're already on this page. So
okay.
Just click on the green plus.
Okay, very good.
And we could just click out of that, and then there's a board editor.
Oh, very good. Okay, so
let's see, where is it? Yeah, see board editor.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the first position for you guys. Sorry, I haven't used this. I use chess space all the time, so that's why I haven't done this one for a while. So, all right. So this first position is an incredibly difficult position. It looks like sure victory for black. Okay. Oops. Sorry. It's black to move. It's white to move, so continue from here. Okay. All right, continue from here. I think. Let's see.
Wait, so it's black to move, you said?
Yeah.
All right, go up to that.
No, it's white to move.
White to move. Okay.
Yeah, and I hit study or.
I'm not sure either one of those.
Okay. All right, guys. So this is the position. All right. Continue from here.
That's right.
Play with the friend. No, this is not what I want to do. Study. Sorry, no.
Try study. Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. We got it.
There it
okay. All right, guys. Sorry, it's been a little while. Okay. I'm a chess-based guy. White to play, guys. We're stuck in actually a very tricky situation here. Okay. We are stuck in a very tricky situation here because it's two connected pass pawns accommodated by this bishop on f1, so it's just very, very tricky situation. But black can hold this position. There's only one way to hold this, okay? But these pawns look very powerful. They're ready to march down, you know, with the move. The pawns are going this direction. I hope I have the board correct. Yeah, I think I have it correct. Yeah, the pawns are going this way, okay, guys? So c3 coming, and then d3 coming, and then you take on c3, plays d2 coming, and then you realize, wait a minute, I'm just losing this game here, okay? So incredible situations. So you have to try to do something. The pawns are going down. They're not going forward. They're going down, okay? So remember that, okay? So, but you'll be able to make a draw. I have a couple of very nice studies prepared for you. So let's take a look here. So what should be our first move here? Of course, the fact that the king is here, that plays a huge role. If the king was here, it would have been much harder. But the king is on the back rank, so that makes things a little easier. In a sense, it gives ourselves some chances. Okay. So please put your moves in the chat so I can see, okay? What do you think the first move should be here? Black's next move, it's going to be c3, Okay, he's going to play the move c3 next. Rook c5, I think he just plays 3-3. The king is not in a good position right now, guys. That king needs to be improved, okay? And of course, if our king was closer to the pawns, that would have made things a lot easier as well. But the king is not close to the pawns, okay? So what can we do? Yeah, we'll take a look at at some point we might look at the Fabi game as well against Nepo, because Fabiano played an incredible game and it was just really unfortunate not to convert that position, but he did play a really nice game and there were some very, very brilliant moves in that game. So the first idea, guys, we need to get this king involved, okay? And that's the correct move here, king b6. Get the king in. Now you're trying to go here, or you're trying to go like king a5 and bring the king here. So he plays c3, only move, because if you play d3, that doesn't go anywhere. I take and I win this pawn too. So that will not get you anywhere. So now what to do now? He played the move c3, he's ready to play c2. Now, what do we do here? How do we try to improve the position of this knight? King a5, perfect, yeah. Now, if you play c2, I go rook takes c2. So the next move is, of course, d3. And now d2 is coming, okay? d2 is coming, and just going to pick up the pawn on c3 next. Yeah, I mean, if the pawn reaches d2, it'll be very hard to do anything. So you're going to have to, I mean, two pawns are very strong. King b4, he will play d2. And yeah, it's just queening. So there is not much you can do except this move here, because otherwise it's just going to be the pawns are just simply going to roll in and promote themselves. So we have to eliminate the c3 pawn here, guys, because without that, just there's no chance to do anything. So we gotta take. Now he plays the move d2, and it looks like, wait a minute, how are we gonna stop this pawn now? You don't have rook d3, bishop d3, rook c1, I take. d1 is queen coming up, but now there is a purpose, okay? There is a purpose why you put your king there, okay? There is a purpose, because you might be able to set up something really, really incredible here, okay? Some kind of a drawing mechanism, okay? Some kind of drawing mechanism that we see sometimes in these studies, okay? So what is the move here first? I see an answer from one player, rook e3 check, correct. King cannot go to the f file because you're going to give a check and then pick up the bishop. So you're in good shape if he does that. If he goes here, check and take. So he has to go here. And now he goes here, and now he's ready to promote this pawn. And this is becoming again, it looks like, nope, we attempted, but it did not really work. But now we're going to find the next idea here. This is the one that will make it much more clear for you how this works, okay? Only one move here. You're at the finish line here, guys. You're at the finish line here. And to find this, you need to find this. Rook e4, excellent, excellent. Threatening rook takes d4 or check, pick up the pawn. If you promote into a rook, then you're going to have the rook and bishop. You will attempt to beat me, but it's going to be most likely a draw. So he's going to put into a queen. And if he puts a queen, then we have the beautiful rook d4 check. Sacrificing the rook. If he moves away, pick up the queen, he takes, and now you see the purpose. You see the purpose of the king being here. These squares are occupied by the bishop and queen, so the king is simply still mated, okay? King is simply still mated. So again, once again, amazing stalemate mechanism, guys. You gotta remember the stalemate ideas because they do happen, okay? They do happen, and you want to be ready to do this stuff when there is opportunity given to you, okay? So remember that. Very, very important, okay? All right, we got one more after this for you. We got one more here. So let's see here. We go here, board editor. It's kind of similar, but a little bit different, this one. Okay. This is white to play, study, create study, start. All right, white to play and draw. I mean, this one looks like even worse now. The pawn is about one square away from queening, and it seems like, wait a minute. I mean, I'm just going to play the move bishop f3 check, pick up this, and just promote the pawn into queen. It seems like it's just all over here. The pawn is just too advanced. He's got the correct bishop. He's about to give a check and promote. I mean, it looks totally hopeless here, okay, this position. It looks totally hopeless here until you discover the critical move, okay? Once you discover the critical move, then you realize there are chances, okay? There are chances to do something here, okay? So give yourself a couple of minutes to think here, guys, first, okay? Couple of minutes to think so you can find the right idea, the correct idea here. So what are the ideas we're looking for here, huh? I mean, one of your ideas, again, you need to think about this stalemate, right? Whether or not there could be some kind of position where it could be a stalemate. Chess lover, you say start checking with the rook. Okay, where? And pray. Well, Usually, if you just check without the pawn, it's not going to work. You know that. But, you know, you might have a point in this one. Maybe if there's nothing else you can do, maybe it's not a bad idea to try to give a little check first. But where? We got two different checks we can do here. Okay? Two different checks we can do. Rook h3, correct. That's correct. Now he goes here, king g7. Question is, okay, what is the progress here we make? It seems like it's the opposite. We're bringing his king closer to the center, right? Then you go, again, if you don't know what if you don't see anything to do, what do? Check. Give a check. Now, the problem he has here coming to the f file anywhere here, because if he goes here, then his bishop f3 loses the power because you have rook takes f3 check. Then you will go here, and when he plays this check, you're going to take check. And then you're going to go here, and this is still actually a draw. Despite you being up a rook, I think this is still going to be a draw, you know? Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, maybe, yeah, d2 and... yeah, so it's still going to be a draw here. But, yeah, so that's, the king cannot go to f3, but the king is going to go to h6, obviously, thinking, wait a minute, why can't I just go there? And this is where you have to play brilliant. Now, what is the move? There, the king is in a good location for us, but we don't want to check anymore. Yes, king to g5. Rook d3, now threatening to pick up the pawn. Okay, not d3, rook d3. Because rook e3 has bishop f3. So now he has to play the move bishop f3 because everything else is just bad. Now if you just take, he's going to promote into a queen now. But now you have a similar idea like in a previous puzzle, guys. King goes to a7. Now you're threatening to take the pawn. He has to play the move d1 queen. And once he does that, now you see why it was important to put this king on h6. What was this idea to put a king on h6? Because of you have this move right now. This particular move, rook takes d6, fantastic. And now take back queen to d6, and now king is trapped. And the king cannot go to b7, to a8, and that is an incredible checkmate, incredible stalemate, okay? All right? Once again, guys, let's go over this puzzle one more time, okay? This is incredible. So we start out with the check. King goes here, check. If he goes to the f file, we go rook d3. It's nice. So he has to go here. That's easy. So he has to go to this direction. Then we play rook d3. Bishop f3 check. You must play the move king a7. Now he promotes this. And simply you take rook d6, queen d6. And now it's a stalemate. Excellent. All right, guys. Excellent, okay? Robert, no worries about... it's been a long time ago. I don't even remember the incident, you know. So, but no worries, Robert. Okay, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching this lecture. Okay. And we will be back again later this week. You will have some more opportunities to watch the lectures. Make sure you tune in. Okay. Make sure you tune in to watch this. If you promote into a rook, that's a good question. I just take the bishop. Okay. If you put it into rook, I just take the bishop, then it's just a draw because the king is going to stop the pass pawn, okay? So, and make sure to tune in to the matches. I played 2 hours today, about 30 games today on Lee Chess, okay? So make sure you tune in as well to that as well. So next few weeks we'll play some good games, and again we're gonna study how Gukesh managed to get to the candidate tournament, and look for that my game against him as well from Isle of Man Grand Swiss tournament, everybody.
And the Grand Chess Tour starts tomorrow.
And Grand Chess Tour starts tomorrow. Please make sure you guys tune in, okay, to watch the first event in Poland, okay? Magnus Carlsen himself will be there, and guess who else will be there? Mr. Gukesh. Gukesh and Magnus clash is starting tomorrow. So you make sure to follow the St. Louis Chess Club YouTube channel, where there'll be a commentary from Yasser Seravan, Nazi Paikidze, Jovanka Hausko, and I'll be helping them as well, guys, behind the scene with the production team. So it's going to be an incredible show. Make sure you guys tune in to watch this, okay? 6 a.m. CDT, okay? Central Time. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow.